Gundam.TK presents SD, Age 1, Normal, Titus, and Sparrow. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs from GundamReviews.net. And even though it's the second generation, we're still getting Age 1 kits. This time I'm talking Super Deformed, so if cute short Gundams are your thing, perhaps this is a kit you may want to be picking up for your own collection. 2012 release. It sells for 1,000 Japanese yen. And forget about other lines like high grade and master grade, how about BB Senshi up at 369, and there's the name bar in English and Japanese. There are already a lot of Age 1s to talk about. We've got the 148th and the master grade for normal only, and then we've got the high grade for all three and advanced grade for all three. But it's only fitting that when a new lead comes out that it's going to be getting an SD. Lately we haven't got a lot of allies or bad guys in SD form, but anyway, continuing on with 00 and the Quanta and the Exia, it's great to see that at least we're going to be getting these and the promise of the Age 2 and 3 to come. Probably the biggest talking point is that you're going to be getting all three wares in one kit. For 1,000 yen, it's a very reasonably priced. You're going to be getting 3 plates, so that's about right. But instead of having a separate Titus, a separate Sparrow, and a separate normal with a lower price, like 500 or 600 yen, similar to the advanced grade or SDs of the past, SDs have been getting more and more advanced, and this way you're going to be keeping the same head and chest and swapping off the limbs, which I've heard other people may have liked for other lines, such as the high grade or master grade, but this is the first time we're going to be getting it, and it's in SD form with all three in one. For the box tour, might as well start in the middle here with the Age 1 normal, and you can see that there's a lot of color apps there on the shield with the feet having white, and then there's all sorts of colors which we've already seen in the advanced grade, so if they can reproduce it in SD, I suppose that's not as much as a surprise as it would have been 5 years ago. You can see that if you don't like the cartoony eyes, that you can have the old school Gundam eyes, which are just going to be a lot bigger. And over here for the Dodge rifle, the normal's main weapon, you can have in 3 modes, including the handgun, yes, which nobody cares about, but it looks like you can rotate the front as well. Now, if you want to swap off the arms and legs, you can have the Sparrow, and it's actually going to be the waist section is going to change as well. You can see the Sparrow, and he's got his blade attached onto the back, which is something you can also do with the Dodds for the normal. And if power's your game, you can go Maxter style, swap it off, and put on red and white. There's a lot of white color apps there. I wonder how many of those are going to be reflected right out of the box with the plastic. But looking at the actual action, you can see here that you've got the shoulder popping out, which is amazing that SD is going to have shoulder articulation. He can actually hold the Dodds in 2 hands, which is incredible. The Titus, they're only showing off one of these sets of the shoulder parts, and for the beam lariat, so you're probably only going to be getting the one inside. The Shigoru blade, or whatever you want to call it, there is looking all good for the Sparrow. Dodds on the back, that on the back. And there's a gimmick that's unique to this, because it wasn't in the anime, but you're going to have the Amembo, which has an acronym on the inside, but basically you can take the Titus and the Sparrow arms, all 8 limbs there, attach it on and deliver it silhouette or Skygrasper style to Flit in the middle of battle. To the other side, where yes, this is an image, but it's a very cool looking CG one and very impressive use of the model itself. And look at all this English that's over on the other side. Yes, you're going to be getting the normal, and the Sparrow, and the Titus, and I love the fact that they're not just going to give you that little picture of it unpainted, they're going to show you all three, and you can see that the normal's going to have some black stickers there, the Sparrow is going to have a lot of white, probably seals, and the Titus is not going to have a lot of white, so they didn't give so many seals there. In terms of the gimmicks, they're just showing off all the weapons there. You are only going to be getting the one lariat and the shoulder parts there, but you can see the plates and a small normal and a plate of stickers, so overall it seems like a lot of value in terms of play for 1,000 yen, and if you don't mind seals, I'd say they all look pretty good right out of the box. When you open up the box, you're going to be treated to a multicolored A-plate with a whole bunch of seals there, polycaps, red and white, no gray plates actually, except what you saw on the A-plate, to go along with a cartoony manual. To the A-plate with Professor RX-78-2 showing off what you've got, you can see 2 clear pink parts up there. You're not going to be getting separate little shoulder parts like we got with the high grade for the Titus. You can see lots of blue here. This is the Sparrow's shoulders, the chest parts, mostly Sparrow parts there to go along with the main waist for the Sparrow and that old race car spoiler. 3 parts in yellow, and if you were really impressed with the way they did that for the high grade and other grades in terms of the separation for the yellow ones, it's a little bit disappointing here. And then in gray, you're going to be having Sparrow legs, Sparrow feet, manipulators. I wonder if those are going to be used for both the Sparrow and the normal. And unfortunately, this blade is done in gray instead of in white. It would be a little bit easier to paint in green without an undercoat if it was done in white. But anyway, it looks like they're putting mostly Sparrow parts on this A plate along with the common chest area. For the B plates, all the white parts, and I had a couple fall off in the bag, so you may have seen those during the unbox, but otherwise there's some pretty interesting looking and intricate parts despite this being an SD one. Starting with the very important part up there for the head, you're going to have a big seal fill in all the details, so no hollow parts there. Also with the actual face mask, even though we've seen hollow parts with other ones, this one's going to be filled in, but it does have good edging opportunities. The normal shoulders, the front of the head, and you're going to have a waist section probably with the back of the head. It really reminds me of Sangokuden. Very small looking interesting joint parts. Look forward to seeing how those go on. And then you can see a lot of parts for the normal, including the most important part for that chest, the Aegis very distinct chest unit. It's great to see that they're going to be recreating most of those parts that worked so well with the advanced grade. Finally, the C plate is going to have a lot of Titus parts there, but you're also going to be getting the inside of the face, so you can have red eyes there to go along with the red goatee. The back of the head was actually white, so that'll be a little bit off-colored unless you've got the helmet on. You've got the normal's feet there, which are going to have white parts that pop on. No seals there. That's great to see. Titus, though, is going to fare less well in the white department. It's going to have a lot of red all over the place, but some great oversized fists there, and you can see the shoulders are going to look quite interesting. To go along with the fact that we're getting unique waists, all three of these wearers should be pretty cool, and I look forward to seeing how the actual transformation/swap gimmick works. Polycaps here, you've got PC303 with some pretty cool looking parts. I look forward to seeing how these are going to fit in there. Lots of F parts there, and you're going to be getting two identical plates here. If you're not a fan of stickers, you're probably not going to be happy to see a seal sheet this large, but there is some pretty cool engineering in there. Starting with the old double eyes there, so you can swap it off cartoony or old school. You can see that the parts here, you're going to have that nice green around the black, and it's actually going to extend down below. These are the black parts for the knees, and you've still got that great high-grade style. Not as many details here, but that's okay. This seems to be more SD-ish to have just the A. You've got the two parts there for the Dodds rifle and the blade for the Sparrow. You've got these two stickers, and it looks like it is going to have a slight indent. I wonder if that's going to impact the way the HG did when you stick it onto the back. You also have these old school circular parts. I got to check out where those go, but it looks like on the side of the head, if you wanted to think of RX-78-2, this one, it's not going to be gray plastic, unfortunately, like we saw with the high grade. It's just going to be this, but it has a very interesting metallic looking texture to it. Something that very much impressed me, though, is for the shield. Yes, it's going to be seals, which is disappointing that the AG, they did it in plastic, but at least they're doing two, so even though it's going to be bent or it's over a rounded surface, that this way, by having two, hopefully it's not going to peel up, and the rest of these white parts are probably all going to go on the Sparrow to bring that blue to life and just make it look a little bit more detailed. The manual is very cutesy. Oh, I'm not a big fan of those eyes. I'll probably go with the regular ones myself. But anyway, it is still cool to see all three of them portrayed there. You can see the name bar, and when you crack it open to the inside, you can see the three plates along with the two things of polycaps there. 80 cents to replace the manual, 40 for the seals, and 40 cents for the rest of them, or 40 yen. You can see the instructions, and basically you're going to build up the head and the chest. You can see that there are a lot of seals around there. And after you've put the normal together and attached everything, they're going to tell you how to build the Dodds and the shield, and basically how to turn it into the handgun. Not that it's that complex. And you can plug the Dodds into the back. It does have that little bottom part to the gray, very similar to the advanced grade. And then when you open it up to the rest, you're going to be getting the Titus here, which isn't getting any color, and you build up the arms for that. White seals to cover up the all red on the feet otherwise. And this is really neat because you take the waist section down, and you're actually going to be using the yellow parts in common, similar to the way the Master Grade did for the Sparrow and the Titus, and then just swap on the red parts. And there he is, big Maxter style. You're only going to have one of these to put on either side, but I look forward to seeing the proportions. And the Sparrow, I sort of like that they did this one just because there's a lot more seals and you can see where they're all going to go on. Basically, you build up the arms, put some white seals on there, a big white seal on top of the blue shoulders. The legs are also going to be in blue, not in gray, as I think I said earlier. Interesting use of polycaps there with white seals even on the toes there of the feet. Same idea, you swap out the yellow part and put in the blue armor underneath, and it is a red piece actually there in the waist, no seal unlike old school SDs. There you can see the blade going into hand. It can be up or down, and it can attach onto the back. And there it is, the BB Senshi original gimmick. You can have this boat heading out there with all 8 limbs on there, which is sort of cool, and you can even put on the normal ones, which is great. And if you do that, you put the Titus on the bottom, or the Sparrow on the bottom, it looks like. And yes, Comic World, Age 1 BB Senshi with that old school logo. Basically, he's fighting a whole bunch of Gafrans, he doesn't know who they are, then he's going to get serious, change his character, be the Sparrow, be the Titus, and in the end, he's going to remember old Lala Yurin soon, and her ribbon floating around in space. And the final color splash page there, you can see the normal with the dots on the back and holding it in two hands. Still incredible they can do that with SD. There it is, transform it between the threes. You can use the Action Base 2 if you want to buy that. And then you're going to have the Age Mechanical Equipment Moving Boat, or Amembo. And there it is, the Beam Lariat, looking very, very cool. The Titus has to be the best, and yes, lining markers are certainly going to help really bring that alive, especially the parts on the inside of the ears. If you go through that with some black, but even with just the seals, it's still looking pretty good. So that'll wrap up my unbox, and I have to say that it's been a lot of fun so far. Great looking plates here. You can see that it is going to be overly relying on seals. But anyway, what do you expect for 1,000 yen in SD where you're actually getting 3 bodies, which is pretty impressive. We've already seen a lot of cool technology in the AGs, and here we're going to be seeing how it works in the SDs. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The big question would be, would you rather have all 3 of these sold separate, or would you rather see them all in one box as we're seeing here? Anyway, I got around that problem, and you can see how I do that. But in the meantime, stay tuned for the next part where I'll be showing it off all put together and we can check out all the wares. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya. And yes, so the way I solved it is just because it is here, and they are pretty cheap, and you can get them at a discount. Anyway, I decided to pick up 3 because I want to show off all 3 at the same time. Would have been nice, I suppose, for people like me if they had sold them for 600 yen and had 3 separate bodies. But anyway, 3,000 yen with a 30% discount, not the end of the world. So anyway, I look forward to seeing this because this way I'm going to be getting 2 blades for the Sparrow. Well, 3 I suppose. I'm also going to be getting extra parts that'll bring the Titus alive, and just by having all 3... Anyway, I just think there's a lot of possibilities. 2 probably would have been enough. But anyway, so stay tuned to see all 3 of them side by side by side. See you again.
Blah, 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 blah.